Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is take a quick snapshot, especially of this window, the Command Any Motor window, and the CCD Settings window. Then we are going to force quit LabVIEW. It might be tempting just to do File Quit or X out the windows, but we want to force quit it just to make sure it's not running in the background. Okay, and then we quit Task Manager. Then open Camware 64. This is just going to reestablish the connection between the camera and the system on the computer. You don't have to do this if it wasn't the camera itself that was frozen. So once we see a little image here, it's usually bigger than this, but once we see this image here, we can go ahead and shut Camware again. Then double click tomography on the desktop. This takes a second. I'm just gonna fast forward through this. So when we get to this window, go ahead and push this little white arrow to run, and this will open LabVIEW, all the windows that you had open before. This also takes a second, so I'm just gonna fast forward through this part too. So when all these windows are finished opening, we're gonna go back to the original window really quick. And go to Scan Settings, which will open up the Scan Settings. And then there's a few things we're going to check. So the first thing is this drop-down menu here. This sets back to a default file. So make sure you set this to the name that comes with your ESAF, with your PI's last name. That'll make sure the file's right to the correct place, as well as holding these settings that you set before. If this drop-down menu doesn't come up, just open and close the scan settings again. We also want to make sure that these settings are the same as before, particularly the sample horizontal. If you had to abort your scan in the middle of it, the sample horizontal might have moved out of the way to get the bright field. So just make sure to set this back to what it was when we initially set up the experiments. And if you need help with that, just get in touch with me. The last thing you want to do is check the exposure time. The exposure sets back to 100, but yours might have been different for your experiments. And that should do the trick.